हेलो फ्रेंड्स, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। तो आज की वीडियो हम दोबारा से पढ़ने जा रहे हैं ट्रेजर आइलैंड की स्टोरी। तो फिर चलिए शुरू करते हैं पार्ट 7 और 8, द एप्पल बैरल एंड काउंसिल ऑफ वॉर। तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं रीड करना। इट हैपेंड ऑन द लास्ट डे ऑफ आवर वॉयज टू द आइसलैंड when it seemed that everyone was in the highest of spirits. I was on the way to my berth after sunset. As I passed the barrel on the deck, I felt like eating an apple. There were only a few at the bottom. So I climbed right in. I sat down in the barrel too, much a couple of apples. Then I must have fallen asleep because I have suddenly awoken. When someone sat down heavily beside the drum, I was about to jump up. When the man began to speak, it was Silver, and after hearing a sentence or two, I would have shown myself even if you paid me to. Not. I, he was saying. Flint was the captain, I was only the quartermaster. I lost my leg in the same voyage in which Peowa lost his eyesight. I shallowed hard as I heard these words. My first fear had been true. After all, this man was the one-legged sailor that the old captain had been so afraid. So, even as three thoughts were running through my mind, the men on the deck were discussing the deaths of all the men that I had heard about the fear for so long, Flint, Pew, and others. The silver Then Silver started speaking to Dick, the youngest sailor on board, in the same flattering tones that he used with me. He was trying to win him over to the villain's side. I think I had been able to. I would have definitely killed him through the barrel. As it was, he continued to talk and listen carefully. It was clear that these men were pirates. I could hear the smooth tone villain winning over the boy. Even as they sat there, I was revealed to hear them grumble about Captain Smolton. At least the man he was honest one of the band. Israel Hands wanted to finish off the captain as soon as he could, but Long John Silver spoke to him sharply. You were always a fool, he snapped. Listen to me, all of you, and listen well. None of you will do nothing until I say you that you can, as the other man protested. He continued. Smolton is a first-class seaman and sails this ship off for us. The squire and the doctor have the map, so they are the ones that will find the treasure and get it onto the ship. If I had my way, I would have the captain get as well on the way home too, so that we don't get lost. We'll returning, for I know the sort of people you are. You're never happy until you drink. Disc smoke up. What will we do with them now? That's what I call business. Silver cried out admirably. Well, what do you think? Leave them on some distracted shore. That's the honorable man's way, or we could cut them up into pieces. What's what Flint or Billy's bones would have done. Billy always said that dead man tell no tell. Israel said, Groofy. That's right. Silver answered, I say it's that for them. Then he said to the boy, as if they had all been discussing that the weather jump up Dick and get me an apple. I trembled and felt as if my heart would burst with fear as I said. there and waited too frightened even to move. I heard Dick and on his feet. Oh, forgot. Apples. John, that's for children. Israel exclaimed. Have some rum inside, inserted. Dick was gone for a few minutes and it occurred to me that this was there, the captain's assistant that got his drinks. They all started were they were for a long time, but they spoke softly now. The only complete sentence that I heard after this gave me a little hope. Not another man of them will join. A light will fell upon me in the barrel. As I listened and looking up, I saw that the moon and had risen at the same time. The sailor on the lookout cried out, "Land ho!" There was a great confusion on the deck. As the men rushed to have a look, I looked my chance and scrambled out of the barrel. I drive this way and that before finally joining Dr. Livesey on the deck. We looked out over the water. The fog had cleared up, and we could see two hills in the distance with a third and much taller rings rising behind them. Captain Smolton was shouting out orders to the men. As I tried not to let my shock and fear show, he was asking if any of the men knew the island and could tell where exactly the horrible was. Long Johnson Silver, the Raj, answered him, "Yes, sir, it's all on the south of the island, behind another little still." He said, "Look, I saw. I have a chart here." The captain said, "See if that's the place." Long John Silver took the map with an eagerness that made me almost shiver. He hid his disappointment when he saw that it was not the original map of the island but a fresh copy with the marking removed. But I knew that he was angry. Aha, yes, this is the spot. Definitely, he said, his tone as bright as ever. Now that I knew the truth about this man, he is very calm, frightened me. He came up to me and laid his arm on my shoulder, and I nearly shivered. I remember when I was young and had my all 10 toes, when we'll want to explore the island. So Jack, just ask old John and he will make a snack for you to take along whenever you want it. He gave me a friendly pat on the shoulder and hobbled away. Council of War. Captain Spontel, Captain Smolton, Squires, Terway, and Dr. Lizzer were talking together on the deck, but I didn't dare to tell them my news openly. Just as I was trying to think of all the possible excuses for going up and talking to them, the doctor called me to his side to send me down for more tobacco. This was the opportunity I was waiting for. Doctor, I said urgently, as soon as I was close enough to speak and not be overheard. Get the captain and the square down into the cabin on any excuse, and then call me. I have a terrible news. The doctor was taken aback at my tune, but he did well. Thank you, Jim, he said loudly. That was all I wanted to know. With this, he returned to the other two. I watched the gentlemen. They spoke together for a while and thought they didn't appear shocked or amazed. I was. It was clear to me that the doctor had told them my request. The captain called Job Anderson, the man who had taken the place of the mission assistant, and asked him to call all the men on the deck. Man, the captain said when they had all gathered, we finally reached our goal. I have informed Square thoroughly that all of you have been doing your duties very well, and we are now going to our cabin to celebrate and drink to your health, just as you all will stay here and drink to yours. I think this is very generous of the gentleman, and if you think the same, you will give him a loud cheer. At this, the man cried so loud, and that no one would have believed that they were planning to kill all of us. The three men went down and sent word up in less than 5 minutes that Jim Hawkins was wanted in the cabin. I went down and found the doctor with his wig in his lap. Sometime, something he did only when he was very disturbed. I told them all all that I had heard in the apple barrel as briefly as I could, and they listened attentively when I finished it, was seated on, and my hands were flint with resin as they discussed their next action. The squire now turned to the cabin and apologized. He had been proven wrong, and all the captain feared were justified. The latter and the only person who could decided the next step. The captain himself sat in sincerely for a few minutes. Never before had he seen a crew that had planned so much and hidden it so well. It was obvious that this remarkable feat was due to Long Johnson Silver. Well, he began, we must go on before because we cannot turn back now. If we do they will rebel at once. Secondly, we have time at least until the treasure is found. Thirdly, there are at least some men who are still loyal to us. I suppose we can trust your own home servants, Mr. Televan, Square Televan, nods counting the square, three servants and square, the captain, the doctor and me. There were seven honest men rather. There were six honest men and one honest boy. We could no longer trust the man hired by the square before Long John Silver's arrival, because Israel Hand was one such a, and he had joined the villains too. Jim there, the doctor suddenly spoke, can help us more than anyone. The men are free with him, and he, a bright, observant boy. Therefore, it was decided that I should be the eyes and ears of the honest group. I began to feel a little desperate and helpless, remembering constantly that there were only six grown up men on our side against their 19 yet. Oddly enough, safety came to all of us throughout me. Thank you for watching. आज की वीडियो में बस इतना ही